Lord Voldemort became terrifyingly iconic. Darkness had a name and an unforgettable presence, while Ralph gave the villain a performance we may never forget. V became a symbol of rebellion. Mysterious and driven by revolution, Hugo Weaving gave him a voice and presence that made every word unforgettable on screen. The Crab Feeder became a haunting House of the Dragon threat. Still a beloved classic silent, Daniel Scott Smith made this strange villain remarkably memorable. Deadpool turned chaos into comedy. Sarcastic and impossible to kill, Ryan Reynolds made the mercenary feel born for this role. Alejandro brought old-school action charm, cool, ruthless, and always ready for danger. Antonio Banderas gave him swagger and a presence fans still remember. Azog became a nightmare for Thorin, brutal and relentlessly dangerous. Manu Bennett gave the Pale Orc a fierce presence that made every clash memorable. Alex Murphy carried tragedy beneath the armor. Part man, part machine, an iconic performance today. Peter Weller gave RoboCop a restrained humanity that made the character unforgettable. Ordinary life met magical chaos when Stanley Ipkiss found the mask. Jim Carrey turned him into a whirlwind of expressions, energy, and comedy that still dazzles. The Night King made every army fear winter, cold, ancient, and seemingly unstoppable. Vladimir Furdik gave the silent villain an eerie presence that spoke without words. King Baldwin faced impossible odds. Leper King, warrior, and tragic ruler, Edward Norton brought dignity and restraint to a role that deserved far more screen time. Commander Strax became a fan favorite. Strange, armored, and unexpectedly hilarious, Dan Starkey filled every scene with deadpan comedy. The Predator made survival feel hopeless. Silent, towering, and built for the hunt, Kevin Peter Hall gave the creature an imposing physical presence still unmatched. Hela conquered Asgard in style, a character fans cherish regal, ruthless, and dripping with confidence. Cate Blanchett made the goddess feel powerful, elegant, and gloriously dangerous. Davy Jones ruled the seas with unforgettable menace. Wrapped in tentacles and tragedy, Bill Nighy gave the pirate captain a voice and presence nobody could imitate. Arthur Fleck became one of cinema's most unsettling figures. An enduring icon even now, Joaquin Phoenix delivered a performance that was impossible to ignore. Snake Eyes became a legendary warrior. Disciplined and deadly with a blade, Henry Golding gave the masked hero modern style and undeniable cool. Behind that mask was pure horror as Leatherface turned a chainsaw into a symbol of terror. Forever remembered for generations, Gunnar Hansen gave the monster a frightening physical presence. The mouth of Sauron delivered dread at the Black Gate, threatening and brief but unforgettable. Bruce Spence made those few moments wonderfully chilling. Drax became one of Marvel's funniest warriors, a character that endures literal muscle with a heart beneath the armor. Dave Bautista gave him perfect deadpan timing and surprising warmth. Sweet Tooth became Twisted Metal's unforgettable menace, mysterious and dangerous beneath the mask. Samoa Joe gave the character formidable physical presence. Caesar carried an entire revolution through silence, emotion, and wisdom. Andy Serkis made motion capture history with a performance for the ages. Still cherished by fans, Hellboy was sarcastic, stubborn, and oddly lovable beneath all that red muscle. Ron Perlman gave the demon detective a warmth and attitude that remain iconic. Dobby stole hearts with every appearance, small, loyal, and willing to sacrifice everything. Toby Jones gave the house elf a wonderfully expressive and memorable voice. Mystique became an X-Men icon. Blue-skinned, mysterious, and endlessly adaptable, Jennifer Lawrence brought charisma and complexity to the shapeshifter's many identities. The Terminator became an action legend, robotic, and built for one mission. Arnold Schwarzenegger made those few words and that stare unforgettable. The Red Skull became a Marvel nightmare, scarred, sinister, and fueled by hatred. Hugo Weaving gave him a commanding voice and villainous presence that lingered. Gollum became Middle-earth's most tragic creature, remembered forever in cinema, broken by obsession and divided by himself. Andy Serkis delivered a landmark performance. Apocalypse brought mutant terror to another level. Enormous and determined to reshape the world, Oscar Isaac made the villain memorable despite the heavy effects. Chucky turned childhood innocence into horror. Small, murderous, and disturbingly cheerful, Ed Gale gave the killer doll an eerie physical presence that still works. The King of the Dead returned when Aragorn called. Dead for centuries yet bound by an ancient oath, Paul Norell made those ghostly moments unforgettable. Bane brought Gotham to its knees. Massive, calculating, and hiding behind a mask, Tom Hardy gave the villain a voice and physical presence audiences remember. Harley Quinn became a modern comic icon. Unforgettable, wild, funny, and dangerously unpredictable, Margot Robbie made her charisma, chaos, and confidence impossible to resist. Ghostface turned every phone call into a threat. Behind the mask came pure suspense, while Dane Farwell helped give the killer that unmistakable physical menace. As Turbo Man became every kid's dream toy, a childhood hero brought Christmas chaos to life. Arnold Schwarzenegger made the absurd adventure even more memorable. Vecna became Stranger Things' nightmare villain. Terrifying and almost impossible to understand, Jamie Campbell Bower gave him a chilling presence fans won't forget. Judge Dredd became a dystopian icon. Justice arrived with a helmet and zero patience, while Sylvester Stallone gave him unmistakable action movie authority. Jason Voorhees became horror's ultimate stalker, masked and seemingly impossible to stop. Derek Mears gave the giant killer terrifying physical presence. Ronan the Accuser brought cosmic menace to Marvel. Ambitious and completely convinced of his cause, Lee Pace gave him commanding intensity and presence. Wrath added another brutal warrior to Middle-earth. Fierce and built for battle, Jed Brophy gave the creature a memorable presence despite limited screen time. Few horror figures are as instantly recognizable as Michael Myers. Nick Castle's quiet, emotionless, physical performance helped create a legend without saying much. The alien became pure science fiction horror. Silent, skeletal, and terrifyingly fast, Tom Woodruff Jr. gave the creature an unforgettable physical presence. Tarkus brought dignity to John Carter's alien world. Powerful, philosophical, and larger than life, Willem Dafoe gave him warmth and unmistakable character. Sauron became Middle-earth's defining threat. From shadowy presence to ultimate evil, Sala Baker gave the Dark Lord an imposing physical form fans still remember. Calm, powerful, and deeply principled, Martian Manhunter brought a different kind of heroism. Harry Lennox gave Jon Johns dignity, wisdom, and quiet strength. Lurtz became Aragorn's brutal opponent. A screen legend in film history, built for war and driven by Sauron's command, Lawrence McQuarrie gave the Uruk-hai leader terrifying physical intensity. Floating red hair and pure nightmare fuel made Pennywise unforgettable. A wicked grin. Bill Skarsgård gave the clown a haunting performance that still unsettles. Worf brought honor and fierce loyalty to Star Trek. Warrior, officer, and Klingon icon, Michael Dorn made the character feel authentic across generations. The Creeper became a horror favorite. Ancient, relentless, and hunting every 23 years, Jonathan Breck gave the creature a uniquely unsettling presence. Kong remained the ultimate giant ape. Whether crashing through cities or defending his territory, Rick Baker helped make the creature feel remarkably alive. Dale brought pure Nicolas Cage energy to the scene. Chaotic, unpredictable, and somehow hilarious, Cage's performance made the character impossible to forget. Cold, mechanical, and built to destroy, Nemesis became a terrifying symbol of unstoppable force. Matthew Taylor gave the villain a memorable physical presence. 4 arms, immense strength, and a legendary roar made Goro an arcade icon brought to life. Kevin Michael Richardson gave him formidable vocal presence. Judge Dredd returned with Carl Urban delivering a leaner, harder performance fans still praise. Badge ready and absolutely uncompromising, Mr. Tumnus welcomed Lucy into Narnia. Kind, gentle, and hiding a fawn's secret, James McAvoy gave him warmth, innocence, and memorable charm. Sinister and wonderfully theatrical, the Lord of Darkness turned fantasy into spectacle. Tim Curry gave the villain a performance nobody could possibly forget. Sloth became the Goonies' lovable giant. John Matuszak gave him warmth and charm beneath that intimidating appearance. Mag the Mighty made every clash feel enormous. Neil Fingleton's imposing presence made the giant warrior unforgettable. Xerxes ruled with terrifying confidence. Commanding and larger than life, Rodrigo Santoro gave the Persian king an unforgettable blend of menace and spectacle. Vladimir Harkonnen embodied villainy on a massive scale. Cold, calculating, and utterly ruthless, Stellan Skarsgård gave him a disturbing presence that lingered.